Hello and welcome to Transforming Your Church, a series of segments for your church board to watch and see how you can put it into action to let your church become all that Jesus wants it to be. In this segment, I want to talk about ministry teams. On the church board, most of you are there because you lead some type of ministry, whether it's children's ministry, pathfinders, adventurers, health ministry, stewardship ministry, family ministries, whatever it is, you're leading a ministry. Even the treasurer is leading the financial ministries, and the clerk is leading the membership ministries. So you are in charge of ministries. Ministries are much more powerful if you build a ministry team rather than do your ministry alone. You see, God has through and through the Bible the principle of the 2 by 2. When Jesus was going to send out 12 disciples, he could have said, we can get twice as much ground covered if I just send you out one by one by one by one. We'll go to 12 different places. But that's not what he did, as you know. He sent them out 2 by 2, and they covered only half as much ground. But Ellen White tells us in The Desire of Ages, each one could supplement the other's weakness. When one was getting discouraged, the other could encourage him. And when he got discouraged, the other could come back and help the one who had helped him. It's like one hand washing the other. It's so much easier when you have the 2 by 2 principle. So a team begins with 2 people. Whatever ministry you're leading, ask God to give you wisdom to see people in the church, to activate as a partner in ministry with you so that you're not trying to carry the ministry alone. The saddest thing is to have somebody in charge of a ministry who's burning out and they're becoming bitter and critical toward God and God's people. We don't want that. That God wants a cheerful giver, not just financially, but in terms of ministry. If we don't enjoy our ministry, we really need to take a break from it and do some other kind of ministry. And helping avoid burnout is to find a ministry partner. Now, if you can't find one, perhaps as a church board, you can help each other find partners in your ministry. And once you do begin finding a partner, the next job is to look for people in the pews to get involved in your ministry. Because ultimately, as a church board, you are responsible for mobilizing the entire congregation in ministry. It's going to be really important that you keep building that team. And then other ministries can begin springing up. You can have a soccer ministry, not just playing soccer, but inviting friends and building relationships that ultimately will impact people for eternity. You can have a golf ministry, and I'm not talking about just going golfing. I'm talking about where you get together and you don't mind praying before you go golfing, even though some people are shocked. You can have a whitewater rafting ministry. In one of my churches, I had one of my elders who had ridden the Wenatchee River in Washington State over 200 times in a raft. He'd invite some people from work to go rafting with him, and they'd love to do it, especially when it didn't cost anything. And then he'd invite some church members to go with him as well. When they're just putting in the raft, he'd say, okay, everybody, let's have prayer. And the church members would bow their heads, and the people from work would have this terrified look on their face. Like, is it so dangerous we have to pray before we get in? And he knew what was going to happen, and so he said, okay, you see those people over there? They don't even have a prayer. And everybody laughs. They have prayer, they get in, and they have a good time riding the rapids and building friendships that can result in all kinds of opportunities to share Jesus and his truths with people. So each ministry needs to be either having a leader on the board that has a partner or needs to be connected with one of the ministries on the board so they have a mentor for their ministry. We're looking to have wheels within wheels. Every ministry needs a team. Now, every ministry also is to be a soul-winning agency in the church. Every year, each ministry should pray that at least one person accepts Jesus Christ, embraces all the Bible truths, and unites with this movement because of that ministry. And so as you think of the ministry that you're working with, as you build your team, you are always saying, Lord, who do you want us to reach out to, and how can we bring them in? In the Sabbath school, every Sabbath school class is a ministry, and it should be transformed into a soul-winning team to bring people to Jesus. When you have family groups that meet in homes, every family group should be a soul-winning agency to bring people to Jesus. So in this way, all of these different groups and ministries, family groups, Sabbath school classes become nets that are catching fish for Jesus, catching people for Jesus, because Jesus promised he would make us fishers of men. And as the team begins building more friendships, bringing people to Jesus, you will see life coming into your church. You'll see the blood flowing through all the body. You'll see fewer and fewer of the members who just sit, soak, and sour, or think that their only role is to pray, pay, and obey. But they begin seeing that they're the hands and the feet of Jesus. And then they become excited and they have things to share and tell, and it becomes a wonderful experience. And then you interview them when you have your Changed Lives feature on Sabbath morning. And everybody begins finding ways to connect everybody into some ministry until the whole body becomes alive and energized. Now I'm talking about maybe something that's going to take a while here. But there's something you can do in the next 30 days for your church to begin going down this pathway. You can determine right now on your church board to not have any ministry unless there's at least a partner with a leader, and to identify who the partners should be, to follow that 2x2 principle. Or you may already have that, and you determine your next step is to be sure that you begin adding people to the teams. Or the next step can be that you begin transforming those teams into soul-winning teams. Whatever it takes, just be sure that you discuss this and ask God for the next step. And may he bless you abundantly as the blood flows through the body and your church becomes the hand and feet of Jesus in preparation for his soon return. May God bless you as we all look forward to his soon return.